What's going on, YouTube? Slimmered6 here with another video. And the title of this video, Weed Addiction is a Form of Self-Hatred and Self-Rejection. And right here I got some notes to support my argument, and we're going to get into it. So, weed addiction is a sign of self-hatred and self-rejection. What do I mean by that? If you're addicted to smoking, you're addicted to smoking anything. You're addicted to any type of substance, bad habit, whatever it is. You're using that to mask something else. You're using that habit. You're using that substance. You're using that weed, that tree, that za to cover up something else that's going on in your life that you're not happy about. It could be a job. It could be a friendship. It could be a relationship. It could be a certain dynamic of how things are going at the current time. But you're lying to yourself and telling yourself that everything is okay. And you're doing that by coping. You're doing that by masking things with weed. You're trying to smoke to escape. You might be dealing with self-rejection. You might not be happy with what's going on in your life currently. You might not be happy with things that transpired in your past. So you're smoking to get over that. You're smoking to relieve that pain, to relieve that pressure. But I'm here to tell you that you got to deal with that pain sometimes. We all in life have problems. We all in life have maybe a past that we're not proud of, mistakes that we made, people that we've wronged, situations that we could have played different. And you're smoking the weed just like I was, trying to escape the pain of the past, escape having to face your thoughts, having to acknowledge things that transpired, maybe opportunities that you missed out on. You're smoking to forgive yourself in a sense, but the true forgiveness is to improve, is to abstain, is to better yourself, and so that you actually start feeling better in real life. You got to start feeling better about these things in real life. You got to start feeling better about yourself naturally without having to smoke. You see, so when you reject yourself, when you reject your thoughts, the memories, when they're going to come back up, when you suppress things that want to come up to the surface, when you suppress emotions, when you suppress feelings, it's going to come back later. It's going to come back at a bad time. It might be an event, where there's a lot of people that a lot of people you're supposed to be connecting with, and you're at this event and you just explode, you lash out. You don't know what happened. It came out of nowhere. It was uncontrollable. You don't know what happened. It's because you were suppressing something for so long, and then at the wrong time, it bubbled up to the surface. See, what you should have did was you should have dealt with it when you had the chance. You should have dealt with it when it was this little, but instead you suppressed those thoughts, you suppressed those emotions, and they never got dealt with. They never got corrected. You never gained your own personal sense of closure when it came to dealing with those things. So when we're addicted, when we have these bad habits, when we're rejecting our thoughts, when we're rejecting our true self sometimes because you're running away from who you truly are, you're running away from what happened, you're running away from your past, you're running away from mistakes, you're running away from situations you could have played better. You refuse to forgive yourself. These things, they come back in a negative fashion. They show back up later on in life. You might smoke to the point where you feel as if you've healed all of your pain. You feel as if it doesn't matter anymore. You almost forgot about the stuff that happened. You almost forgot about the conversations that went left, the arguments, what this person said to hurt your feelings, what this person said they was gonna do that they ain't do. You know what I'm saying? You might have forgotten about those events, but it comes back up in a later event at a wrong time. We got to deal with our problems, and that self-rejection is not the way to go. So we got to cope without having to abuse substances and try to suppress things and try to mellow things out when it's still there. I smoked to the point I tried to forget about so many things. I tried to forget about who I was in the past. I tried to forget about maybe not doing so good in school back in the day, maybe just a myriad of situations I tried to forget about without actually forgiving myself and working through the situation. And that self-rejection is a form of self-destruction, because that pressure is going to build up to the point where one day in the future, it's like an explosion. So that's self-destruction right there. Through self-rejection, it leads through self-destruction, because you're rejecting yourself, and your true self wants to rise up to the surface, right? If you need to cry, you need to cry. If you feel anger, you need to feel that anger and acknowledge it, because it's going to arise at a time where it's not necessarily appropriate, and it's going to do more harm than good. So you smoke, you're trying to escape, and you never truly get away. You never truly escape. You never break that cycle. You know what I'm saying? It's still there. It still lingers. And it creates a lot of damage in our life by constantly smoking and constantly trying to cover up things. It's like you're lying to yourself about life and trying to make things seem better than they actually are. You're lying to yourself about the way things are, and you're trying to make it seem better than it actually is. And I've been there before, but you got to be able to tell yourself that you love yourself without feeling funny about it. You got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I mess with you the long way. I mess with you the long way. Same way you see these videos in the background, like, this is me giving myself a dose of self-love when I record these videos, and I got my old music videos in the background, right? During this time of my life, I was smoking a lot of weed. I was doing music, but I wasn't really putting into work. But I smoked enough weed to feel like it was gonna go somewhere. I was lying to myself. I was lying to myself, trying to make the situation seem better than it actually was. I wasn't being real with myself. You gotta be a realist. You gotta be true to yourself. And through realism, you're gonna be able to better navigate and better handle situations in life. You're gonna better be able to handle these situations that come about, because you already dealt with the pain, you already dealt with the trauma, you already dealt with the bad thoughts, the bad memories, the bad vibes. You already forgave yourself. You already forgave the people that wronged you. So when you go through something next time, I implore you, don't smoke. Just chill, sit back, internalize it, think about it, deal with it, come to a conclusion about it. Really see where your thoughts get you. Really talk to yourself. Compare that person in the past to who you are today. Sometimes we've been smoking for so long that the growth never really occurred. The growth never really occurred, so we're stuck mentally. You're stuck mentally. You gotta elevate. And sometimes in order to elevate, you gotta take off first. But that plane is on the ground before it take off. You gotta deal with everything that happens down here. You gotta, all the baggage that gotta get on the plane, all the baggage that gotta get off the plane. You know what I'm saying? Then you gotta, people gotta get off the plane, then some folk gotta get on, then you gotta pilot that, you know what I'm saying? Then it take off. And now you in the air, you done elevated now, but you dealt with everything on the ground level. You dealt with it. You can't just get high and not deal with everything before takeoff. Because when you land again, you're gonna have to deal with it. It's a horrible analogy. It's a terrible analogy, but it makes sense. It makes sense. So like I said, y'all, like, weed addiction is a sign of self-hatred, bro. And a lot of us deal with self-hatred in different ways. It might be through over-consuming, being overly addicted to something, spending your money irresponsibly, drugs, alcohol. There's a lot of different ways that you deal with self-hatred. Impulse shopping, making impulsive decisions, lashing out, anger problems. We deal with these things, but when you smoke weed, you're just treating the symptom. You're not really fixing the problem. So let's fix the problem. Slimmer at 6, like, comment, dislike, subscribe. Whatever you do, do something. I'm out.